Welcome to the Better Eye Health Podcast with Damon P. Miller II, MD. This particular podcast is an excerpt from the weekly conference calls. Dr. Miller focuses on different topics connected to the Better Eye Health program. The topic of this session is Autoimmunity and Your Eye Disease, Part 3. Here is Dr. Miller.
We're going to start with the third of three talks that I talked about in terms of autoimmune disease and eye disease. So the first part a couple of weeks ago was an overview. Last week we talked about gut health because that's important. But just a very brief review here. The sort of thing that both integrative medicine, the kind of medicine I do, and allopathic medicine, the sort of hospitalist or hospital-based regular medicine that I was originally trained in, one thing that both agree on when it comes to autoimmune disease is that it is a consequence of an overactive immune system. In Western medicine, allopathic medicine, the solution is to give drugs that suppress or even kill the immune system. And that works, but it's, as you can imagine, not a desirable long-term solution. And in integrative medicine, you're trying to look at the root of the problem a little more and asking the question, why would the immune system be so overactive, so overexcited, so overstimulated that it's actually making antibodies against your own tissues? And so you have that conversation by looking at all of the things that could stimulate the immune system and trying to quiet down as many of them as you can. You don't have to do any of them 100%. You don't have to do any of them perfectly. But if you quiet things down a little here and there, overall things can quiet down enough that the autoimmune disease essentially goes away. You quit having symptoms. And I also talked more in the first lecture 2 weeks ago on that was the 31st of August, and talked more about, this connection that we're seeing, not just me, but others too, with more and more people who have these degenerative retinal diseases are also seeing things complicated by an autoimmune. And so today I just want to talk about two big things that can stimulate the immune system and things that you have some control over. And the first is diet, and the second is toxins. And foods that your body doesn't like, foods that you have a sensitivity to, cause an immune reaction. And toxins, the kinds of things that bedevil us all because it's such a toxic world, the toxins that your body can't easily eliminate hang around in your body, and those also cause an immune reaction. So by eliminating foods from your diet that your body doesn't like, and by doing some basic things to detoxify yourself, both reducing the number of new toxins you introduce if you have any control over it, and doing things so the body is better able to excrete toxins, those things will reduce your overall toxic load and reduce the amount of immune reaction that you're having to those toxins. And so the strategy then becomes figuring out which foods you might be sensitive to and looking at what you can do to detoxify your body and detoxify your environment. And so I just want to say that we do have dates now. You'll be getting a letter in the next week or two. But we have dates for the two classes that we include as a part of the as a part of the Better Eye Health program. And the reason we include those classes is this very reason, that something you can do to clean up your diet. There is something you can do to help remove toxins. And these courses just go over that in greater detail. So the way the courses work, they're virtual courses in the sense that every week you will be sent a link to a video that you can watch on the computer. And even if you don't see the computer very well, the audio part of the video is very important. So if all you can do is listen to the audio part of the video, it's still worth doing. Obviously, if you have no access to a computer at all, this course isn't going to be of much use to you, but you're still more than welcome to join the other part of the course, which is that every Saturday for 6 weeks for the Healthy Eating Workshop, we will have a conference call on Saturday in the morning. It's 10 o'clock Pacific time. And then running concurrently with this Healthy Eating Workshop is the Detoxification Workshop, and that won't start until the next week. That'll run for 4 weeks and start October 22nd. So the Healthy Eating Workshop runs 6 weeks, begins October 15th, and in the middle of that, the Detoxification Workshop runs for 4 weeks and starts on October 22nd. And the reason we do them together is they are complementary to each other. So, for instance, one of the biggest toxins that you need to eliminate from your body is foods that your body doesn't like. Foods that your body doesn't like are toxic to your body. And the way the course works, there is no good lab testing to really determine these things. The lab testing is getting better, but it's still quite expensive. So if you really need to see things in black and white on a piece of paper, we can spend $1,000 of your money and get some decent lab testing done. But it's just as easy to just play with your diet for 6 weeks. We'll do during those 6 weeks, it'll be a kind of a pared back diet. It's all just with food. There's no fancy milkshakes or anything like that. But you will eat a simpler diet for 6 weeks and see how you feel. And then you'll slowly add in the foods that we've removed, and you'll see how you feel. And it sounds a little vague, but believe me, it's very powerful. And if there are foods that your body doesn't like, it becomes very apparent. And then it's up to you to get rid of them. And I'll tell you that some of the foods that are the most common causes of immune response and inflammation and autoimmune things are staples in the diet, things like wheat and cow dairy and cheese and things like that. So, but we talk about how to work with that. And there are a lot of people in this program who've done these courses before, at least the healthy eating. No one's ever done the detoxification course before. That's new. This will be the first time it's actually offered. But they will tell you how it's worked for them. We'll leave some time in future weeks for people to talk about how it's worked for them and what they've experienced. But those courses, that's your solution, is to start with these 2 courses. And then the detoxification course is more informational. We're going to be we have a little book that a comrade of mine wrote, a colleague, Dr. Lee Cowden, wrote a book on Detoxify Your Home and Body. And that book is provided as a part of the course. And we use it sort of as a textbook. It's just a small paperback book. But it's something I want you to read, and the book, even as small as it is a little overwhelming in that it really doesn't tell you where to begin. It gives you all kinds of information, very good information, but it kind of, after you've read through it, you go, well, now what do I do? What do I actually do? And so that's the purpose of the course, is just to give you something that's a little, gives it to you in smaller bites so you can actually get started with this. And it's easy. A lot of it's common sense. And but you'll see as we do the course. And like I say, for those of you who are in the full program within the last couple of years, those courses are included. If you joined earlier than that, there are discounts for you if you're already a part of the Better Eye Health program, or if you've already taken the Healthy Eating Workshop before. There's a significant discount to retake it. So you have sort of a graduate discount. But that's all, like I say, all that information, that specific information is coming in a letter. So please don't ask questions this week about the details of the course, because you're going to be getting something in a letter. Once you have the letter, then if you have more questions, we'll deal with those. I do want to say that next week there will be no call. I'm going to be in Orlando giving a talk on cancer, Chinese herbs and their place in the treatment of cancers, but I won't be able to do the call next week. And no, I'm not going to go to Disney World or whatever. Not doing that. But anyhow, so toxins and food are the major things to be working with if you have issues with autoimmune disease, and not just an eye problem. If you have autoimmune thyroiditis, if you have inflammatory bowel disease, if you have inflammatory arthritis like rheumatoid arthritis, If you have psoriasis or eczema, if you have asthma, if you have any sort of autoimmune disease, these courses are of great use to you if you do them and if you play with these things.
Tune in for more podcasts and other presentations. Go to www.betterihealth.com. There is hope for sight.